Shalom, shalom, shalom. Hey, what's going on? My name is Michael Sahno, and welcome to the 12 Cities in Israel podcast. I have, oh my gosh, the biggest honor of sitting here with Laila Perelman-Soppi. She is from Ben Gurion University International, the Overseas International Student Program, and she is responsible for all incoming international students. Welcome to the program. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm very excited to be here, Michael.
Thank you for being here. This is, I've known you. We figured it out. It's been for about 5 years.
Yeah.
I spent 2 summers at the Ulpan program. What is Ulpan?
The Ulpan basically is an intensive program that we have in the summer, also in the winter. That is, its aim is to help students from all over the world to come and through an intensive, very intensive course, you can say that.
Very.
Right? It's very intensive. It's like a 6 weeks, very intensive course where you can start learning Hebrew or improving your Hebrew. And the special thing that the Ulpan has is that is Hebrew taught in Hebrew. So it's a very special pedagogical tool, let's say, that helps you learn Hebrew without any, it's like a shortcut. You just need to start speaking Hebrew from day one. You'll start with a ABC, and through maybe the first week you'll already be able to speak a little bit of sentences and get along and go to the supermarket and find your way outside. Because basically this was a pedagogical technique developed for new immigrants to Israel. So it's people that they come to live in Israel and they need to grasp the language very, very fast. The fastest, the better. So they can, get immerse in the culture, in the society, find jobs, and get settled as soon as possible.
So on that note of getting acclimated, getting settled, you, if I'm correct, were not born in Israel.
No, I wasn't born in Israel.
You can
hear that in my accent, actually.
Argentina? Now, where are you from?
Well, I'm from Argentina, from Buenos Aires. I was born there and born and raised in Buenos Aires until the age of 16, a little bit more. And then my parents decided that we'll go to live in Israel.
Just, hey, let's go pack up the suitcases.
Not like that, but basically I can tell you it was the year 1993.
Wow.
A long time ago, yeah.
Not that long ago.
It is. Come on. But I was 16 back then. Okay. And my father had a business that he needed to close. And he really wanted to start again. He liked to cook a lot. So he went and took a course in cooking, basic cooking. He developed that. And he decided that he wanted to start over. And if you need to start over, it's better to find another place. And if it was not Argentina, where we all were born, the only answer for that was Israel. I was educated in Jewish environments all my life. Since the age of 2, when I started kindergarten, it was in a Jewish school, Jewish kindergarten, Jewish elementary school, and Jewish high school. And all the activities were within the Jewish world. So they decided that Israel is our goal. And we packed everything. I have 2 sisters. I'm the older one. So I have 2 younger sisters and my parents. And we came to Israel now in September.
How did, and we're not going to spend too much time on this, but I am curious, how did your family wind up in Argentina? Because I know that some of the families that are in South America are some of the oldest who have come over to that area of the world.
Well, my grandparents from both sides are from either Poland or Ukraine or Austria, and they came as very little kids to Argentina between the two wars, before the Second World War.
Oh, okay.
So and they ended up in Buenos Aires, and as many other Jewish communities that left Europe. You could say just in time before Second World War. It was in the 20s, maybe late 20s. So that's where my family comes from. My parents were born in Argentina. One of my grandmothers was also born in Argentina.
Okay.
And that's it. And then
Wow.
we crossed the
Now you
ocean
got here.
again. Yeah, exactly.
You got here, and where did you guys set up?
We came directly to Be'er Sheva.
Yay!
Yeah, great city in the south of Israel. Be'er Sheva that we came to many years ago was completely different to what it is today. And my parents decided to go to Be'er Sheva directly because my mother has a cousin in Be'er Sheva that she was living there already for a couple of years, maybe 3 or 4 years even. And she has kids more or less about our age. So
that's
it was
good.
Yeah, it was the idea was to be in a place where we as kids would have some, first friends to gather with, which is also family. So it was very nice. It was a very, very good idea. Although Be'er Sheva and Buenos Aires, besides that both start with a B, have nothing to do one with the other, especially not so many years ago. In the middle of the desert, we came in the middle of the night to a place called Merkaz Klita, which is the immersion center, a very, very long building with a lot of apartments for immigrants from all over the world. Wow. It was very interesting. We lived there for 6 months, and then we moved out to our apartment. And but it was Be'er Sheva from day one.
Wow. Okay. So what was the acclimation like? Was it difficult? Was it easy? You said you grew up in a Jewish community.
Yeah.
I don't know what level of Hebrew you were. Probably more than mine. But you're in Israel. Hebrew is the native language. Yeah. And Be'er Sheva is not the most, at that time, cosmopolitan place.
Right, yeah. Well, we were in the absorption center with people from all over the world. So a lot of Spanish speakers were also living there.
Really?
Maybe with more experience than our experience. But yes, as I told you, I studied in a Jewish high school and a Jewish elementary school. So I knew Hebrew at the extent that I could manage myself through,
you could get milk.
Yeah, I could get milk. More than that, when we came, when we landed, 2 suitcases were missing. Oh. So I knew English back then, but when you come after so many hours of traveling and so excited from one side and also a little bit very upset on the other side, because we left, a lot of family and friends, and it was really disturbing at the same time. And we needed to go and file for 2 missing suitcases, and we did it with our Hebrew as much as we could. So we didn't have a lot of time to, just sit around and get settled. We just started from day one at the airport. Exactly. And since my Hebrew was quite good, I was put in a regular classroom at school.
Wow.
It was, the thing is that in Israel, between 10th through 11th grade, and basically also during the 12th grade, the last year of studies, students to take like the ACTs as in the States. So it's very similar. It's called Bagruyot. So you need to study starting 9th grade and then starting to take the final exams. But I got here, it was September, the beginning of the year. I was supposed to be in the 11th grade, and I didn't study anything towards those exams. So it was quite difficult. But since my Hebrew was quite okay, I was put in a program that taught, a 2-year program where we could study everything that we needed for these final exams and take all the exams by the end of the 12th grade.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
And they also really helped me a lot. I had, classes, personal classes maybe after school, and they helped me with things that I didn't quite grasp, a lot of, history book in Hebrew. I remember that the first class that I was in when I entered the school, it was math. So I was there sitting in a classroom full of students. Everybody spoke in Hebrew. I looked at the blackboard and I said, okay, I know that. I see that it is a triangle, but I didn't know how to say triangle in Hebrew back then. So I understood the formulas and I saw that I can understand what's going on, but how do you say triangle in Hebrew? How do you say, things like that I didn't really know. So it was very, very strange, but I managed. And then by the end of the 12th grade, I did all the exams and it was really okay.
Excellent. And from there, you went on to service?
Yes, of course. I was very eager to go to the army.
Wow.
Since I came almost at the age of 17, I was doubting if the army will be aware of me and cut me, on time for my service. So that's a really funny story, actually.
Please.
I told you that I had cousins in Be'er Sheva, and back then my cousin was in the army. She's older than me. Maybe 2 years older than me, and she was in the army, and I asked her for her help, and she came with me to the base where students, in high school, when you go and take the tests and the exams before you go to the army, nobody called me, so I went by myself with her. I just got her with me and she explained why I was there and what I was looking for. They were a little bit surprised because nobody had my file. My name was not there. And that's what I thought, that nobody will reach out until maybe too late. And I didn't.
And then, you don't want to get in trouble or anything like that.
Not only in trouble, I really didn't want to go to the army as any other Israeli girl.
Excellent.
So I went by myself and I needed to wait a little bit until they just, opened the file for me. And I started taking the tests that same day.
Wow.
And so I went to the army.
And what did you do in the army?
I had 2 jobs. The first one was you can say that it is a little bit like a social worker for only women soldiers at the beginning. Okay. But since the army went more feminist in those days, so that job was just canceled out.
Wow.
Yeah. Because basically the story is that if you want equality and you want girls to have the same possibilities than boys when they come to the army, why do you need a special program for girl soldiers?
Level the
they
playing
should be
field.
Exactly, they should be treated the same as other soldiers. So that was canceled, which was very nice because I ended up being like more or less also like a social worker, but for soldiers, boys and girls, that come from a underprivileged background, social or economic background. And the program is to let them, get back to community, they get back to the society, get maybe some tools during their service in the army. Some of them go and take courses in like cooking or things that, different
I've heard
things.
of this program.
Yeah.
I have, and wow, that you were. It's actually very illuminating that this is what you did.
Yeah,
and
it was really nice. It was really nice to get to know, people, soldiers from different parts of the country. I was settled in Be'er Sheva as well. My service was also in Be'er Sheva, so I didn't go far. In the
See the world.
headquarters, in the southern headquarters.
Oh wow!
And our job was
right across from the Boreka place.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Umi, right?
Go on. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So we were, we would receive these soldiers after their long course that they do at the beginning of the army.
Okay.
Some of them, finish school, take the final exams from high school or things like that. And then they
really?
come down. Yeah. It's also something that is done through the army sometimes.
That's excellent.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then we would help them to decide where would be better for them to be, in what kind of base. And then we visited them,
Just
once
to
a
make
month.
sure they were
Exactly.
on track.
Yeah.
That's excellent. That's so great. Now, from there, did you take a gap year? Get your picture taken on top of Machu Picchu like everyone does?
Not so much. And the reason is that I didn't travel to Argentina back then until the end of the army. So one of my goals was to go back and, meet family and friends, basically. So I didn't do a very long trip around the world in South America or in, Thailand or India.
That's the other place the
Exactly.
Instagram pictures are from. So, yeah.
Yeah, so what I did is I traveled to Buenos Aires for almost 2 months and just stay there and was, gather with friends and, things like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then what did you move on to? Education?
Then when I came back, actually we had a stop by in Italy and Albania where I met my boyfriend back then, who is my husband today. Yeah, we are together for a long time.
Metsuyan.
Yeah. So we met in Italy after almost 2 months that we've been apart, because I was in Argentina and he was working in Israel. So we met in Italy and we went around a bit, and we went to Albania because he's from Albania. So we went to Albania and had a really good time over there. Yeah. When I came back, my plans were to start studying. And of course, I studied also in Be'er Sheva at BGU, Ben Gurion University of the Negev. Yeah, I did my BA there in English, Linguistics, and Education.
Wow.
Yeah, and that was my first degree. It was a really, really fun time. It was very nice. I had a great time as a student at the university. And when I finished, I decided that I wanted to do something with culture and language. So I started a master's degree in anthropology.
Wow.
My goal was to do something with, people, languages, from my own experience of being a new immigrant and having this mix of languages going around in my head and how they reflect on society. And it was really, really nice. I took that master. I did only 1 year, and then I understood that it was, the focus of those studies were not exactly what I wanted. So I left that after a year. I didn't finish that master degree, but it was very, very illuminating and very interesting for my own experience. So then I started to teach English, after school for kids, or Hebrew for new immigrants, Spanish, things like that.
Yeah.
For a while, for maybe 2 or 3 years. And then when I had my first kid and he was supposed to go to kindergarten, I looked for a job that will be, more like a mother-like job. Because most of the times when I had, these private lessons were maybe in the afternoon or at night even. And I wanted to start working in more regular hours. So
Wouldn't we all?
Yeah, exactly. So I turned to high school and I started working as a English teacher and as a tutor for classrooms, and also taught not private courses, but supportive courses in English for the students that were in the boarding school. This school where I taught is called Eshel Anasi. Is a youth it's a youth village.
Okay.
Just maybe 10-15 minutes outside from Be'er Sheva.
Oh wow.
So I taught in the school during the day, and in the afternoons I taught the kids from the boarding school in the same place. And that was for 2 years. And then after 2 years, I really liked the educational or pedagogical approach of the boarding school. So I stopped teaching in the high school and I went to work 100% in the boarding school, which means that we moved to the youth village and we lived there as a family for 2 years. Yeah.
That's amazing.
So that's the furthest I got from Be'er Sheva as a living.
You were so close.
Yeah, very, very close. But we lived there for 2 years.
Okay.
And after 2 years, we decided to go back to Be'er Sheva because the work was it was fascinating, but it was, 24/7.
Yeah, you're there all the time.
All the time. You live there, and it's not just by chance that you live there. You live there because you are needed there 24/7, including weekends, including holidays, including everything. And I had two young kids. One was 4 years old, and the other one just was born there. As soon as we got there, he was born. So
you needed a break. You needed a break from it.
We needed something that would be, a good work for me, but also something that would let us have a normal family life. With he was like the older one was almost 6 years old, and the second one was 2 years old. So we went back to Be'er Sheva, and that's when I started working at BGU.
Wow.
Basically, yeah.
Now, were you with, and I'm going to use the old term just for history's sake. When did you go right into it? So BGU International, who you work for now, used to be called OSP.
Right.
And I always get it wrong. Overseas Student Program.
Exactly.
I always leave the student out and just say because the S.
Program. Yeah, exactly. But it used to be the Overseas Student Program. Now it's called BGU International. But basically, BGU International is the house of all non-degree programs at BGU, and it is part of the Office of International Academic Affairs, which is responsible for all the academic affairs within,
international students.
Exactly. International students and
visiting. I think it's visiting academics as well.
Yeah, it's visiting staff, visiting students, international students coming to BGU. And also we are in charge of the outgoing students from BGU that go to study abroad for a semester or a year as well.
Wow.
So mobility in general. And we take care also of all the agreements that need to be, settled between the universities, between institutions. It's really fun and very, very diverse what we do.
Good. Quickly, before you go into that, can we have a quick history, literally quick history? I know that could go on for days if we spoke of it, but a quick history of Ben Gurion University and of the program. Yeah,
well, BGU was founded in 1969. So basically this year we just turned 50. So there's a lot of celebration going around and it's really fun. And BGU is settled in Be'er Sheva, which is basically in the south of the country. Geographically speaking, is in the middle of in the center of the map, we could say. But it's in the desert. Be'er Sheva used to be a very peripheral city. Nowadays has developed a lot and is continuing to develop. So the university was settled with basically two mandates. Not only to be a very strong academic research institution, which is also in charge of educating the new generations, but also another mandate to develop the city, to develop the Negev region, to develop the country through the desert. So our campus, our university is very, very environmental, very socially
involved. I mean,
in a lot of programs. And yeah, that's part of our DNA.
But not just that. I mean, I get the newsletter from BGU International. There's everything from, and it's ironic because it's in the middle of the desert, but I get all of these water emails about all the work.
Well, actually, it does make sense.
It does.
BGU has 3 campuses. The main campus is in Be'er Sheva. The second campus is in Sde Boker, which is really the middle of the desert. And then the third campus is in Eilat, south of Israel. Basically there we have hospitality and biology, marine biology, and things like that. But in our second campus in Sde Boker, which is in the middle of the desert, we have the Blaustein Institute for the Research of the Desert. And they have a very big institute for hydrology and water management and the developing different innovative research that treat the desert as their field work, which is just outside the lab. And it's where all the, agricultural solutions and water management and things that are linked to the desert, but are today with a lot of so many, environmental problems around the globe. The solutions come from these places that are more, let's say it's difficult to live in the desert. So you need to find the resources to do so. So that's what we developed there.
That's awesome. That is so great. Now, going back to Ulpan real quickly and tying into what you just spoke about, I know that there are a number of programs based on this newsletter that I just continue to get. And don't worry, I love reading it. You can work on some of these programs as an international student. Is that correct?
What do you mean by work in the...
So actually, let me roll that back into something a little smaller. What are some of the programs that you can work on while you're here at BGU? Well,
basically, as you know, the summer program, the Ulpan is dealt in the summer and also during the winter as well for 6 weeks. That's a very short program. We have other kinds of short programs that deal with global health, which is very interesting. Business intelligence with cybersecurity applications, also a very, very good program during the summer, in July. And we have a brand new program which combines engineering and innovation, which is called Entrepreneurship Focused Robotics. Wow. That is able to offer the students coming from all over the world for 4 weeks a very intensive course that has both an academic course and also it's held as a challenge where the students need to develop something and is
it's okay. Take your time. You got it.
It's we have 3 companies that sponsor us: Nikon, Amazon, and General Motors, that mentor the students during their challenge in the program. Yeah, it's a brand new program that we're having this July and very fun. And it's a mixture of what BGU does, making things together. A lot of multidisciplinary programs, as we have a lot of institutes that do this kind of multidisciplinary research. You can also come for a semester or for a whole year, take a semester abroad.
This is what I was really talking about, because about the programs down in Sde Boker and all that, because there are classes when I was looking at the course out. This was years ago. So, but yeah, go on about the semester program.
Exactly. Students that want to spend more time and not take a whole degree, because, we also have international students coming for a whole degree at BGU, for a full BA or MA or doctorate or postdocs. We have, a lot of students that come for longer times, but if you come as a non-degree student, meaning that you don't get a degree from BGU, but you only do a part of your studies at BGU, coming for a semester is a great idea, because you are a completely, Israeli BGU student. You get all the things that are, all the privileges and also all the
balagan.
Exactly, everything that you need to do during the semester. You take courses in English. Some of the courses are held through our department. Some of them are held through different regular departments at BGU in our 6 faculties. And you can mix and match courses according to your personal field of interest. And that's a very good way to get immersed in the society, in the campus, be part of everything that is going on in our very vibrant campus, participate in the Purim festival, participate in volunteering opportunities, things like any other Israeli student would do.
Absolutely. And the campus is amazing. The campus is spread out. It's funny because as hot as Be'er Sheva can get in the summer, it can find a cool spot.
Of course, AC is everywhere in Israel, especially in Be'er Sheva, which is it can get really, really hot in the summer.
But it's a vibrant, modern campus.
Yeah. And what is special about our campus as opposed to other campuses in Israel and other universities around the country is that we are a very, very, social campus. Students come to study at BGU within Israel from the whole country. And it's very, very diverse. It means that you have people from different cities, kibbutzim, villages, Druze villages in the north, and Bedouin villages around the city in Be'er Sheva, and people that are commuting from different places. So it's very diverse. It's very interesting. It's very vibrant. And everything is done within the campus. As I told you before, Be'er Sheva is not one of the biggest cities in Israel. It's only the 4th one after Jerusalem, Tel Aviv, and Haifa. So a lot of things were developed because of the university. It's like a campus town.
Yes.
And a lot of things are going on around campus. A lot of, bars, pubs, and restaurants, and projects, social projects for students that they can volunteer, get a scholarship in return, and they are really involved in what the community needs and what the city needs, and different projects like that. So it's a very, very strong point for students that are looking for something from a different experience, both for Israeli and also for international students as well.
Absolutely. Now, Be'er Sheva, in the years that I've been coming there, the national or the city bird for the city of Be'er Sheva should be the crane, with all the cranes that are towering over it. So much has changed. If you go from one year to the next, where did this come from? Holy cow, where did this come from?
Well, we have a mayor that is great, Reuven. He's developed the city like a lot in almost every field, I can say. When I was back then, maybe before we had kids, me and my husband were maybe thinking if it would be better for us to leave Be'er Sheva and go to another city in order to educate our kids. And we decided to stay in Be'er Sheva, and I think it was one of the best decisions that we took, because there is a lot going on, socially, culturally, educationally. The city has many new neighborhoods that are suitable for families, with a lot of parks, green areas just in the middle of the desert, which are really, really great. The city was decided to be the cyber capital of Israel. So it means that a lot of things in this area were developed. IDF, the Israeli Defense Force, all the intelligence parts would move to the south, would move to Be'er Sheva. And basically you have like the main campus, main BGU campus. Just across the street you have the Soroka Medical Hospital, which is a university hospital. It is part of the university, and it's the biggest hospital in the south.
Could you, before you go on, could you talk about the School for International, it's School for Global Medicine.
Exactly. We have MSIH, a program which is the Medical School for International Students, which is basically focused on global health. It's a 4-year program, an MD program, where students from the state or any other part of the world come after they have a pre-med, after they already have a BA, for 4 years to study and get an MD focused on global health.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's a very, very nice and very interesting program. They have electives that go, they go everywhere. They go to Africa, they go to South America, Central America, places that are underprivileged. And they really get medicine done there. It's really, really amazing.
But that's just one example of Be'er Sheva.
Yeah.
There are preconceived notions about Be'er Sheva being this dusty place in the middle of nowhere. But when you hear a story like that, it's what? You have that there? That's amazing.
We do, and we have much more.
Keep going, please. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. But what I mean is that we have the main campus, and just across the street we have the Soroka University Medical Hospital. Just across of that, if you remember where the Gimel dorms were, and just in front of that there is the sports center. So behind the sports center, we have a train station.
Yes.
Remember that?
Yes.
It goes directly to campus, so it's very, very easy to travel to and from Be'er Sheva and BGU especially, because we have a train station just across. You go up to the bridge and you just enter the campus directly. But on the other side of that train station, we have the high-tech park, the new high-tech park, which has right now 3 buildings fully equipped and full of tenants.
And a Domino's pizza.
Exactly. There is a Domino's pizza over there, right? Exactly. And there is a very nice pub now. It's called
really?
Jams. Yeah, it's a brewery. It's a really nice place.
Wow.
And a new neighborhood has developed because of that high-tech park. Yeah. And there will be more than 10 or 11 buildings. And everything is fully packed. And a lot of international companies have settled their offices in this high-tech park. And actually last month, Be'er Sheva was, they just launched the innovation, how it's called, sorry. It's the innovation
Center?
No, the district, sorry.
District.
It's a new thing for us, yeah. Be'er Sheva has been settled as the new innovation district of Israel.
Wow.
So it means that a lot of companies will come and a lot of things will be developed as the innovation center of Israel. And it's really fun because you really see things changing one year by year. And you told me that next week you're coming down to Be'er Sheva.
Yes.
So you'll need to go around and see how much the city has changed.
Well, because someone told me they were building a hotel and a brand new hotel and convention center for all of those buildings.
Exactly. Yeah. There are a lot of projects going on, and the main campus is going to double its size because we have already started building a northern campus.
Where?
Yeah, you'll see that through Ramot.
Oh, all right. Okay.
And it will be double because we need more classrooms, we need more labs, we need a new international convention center that will be built there because we are growing all the time.
Because the last time I was at Ulpan, the building where Ulpan was, to the left of it, they were building 2 tall buildings.
Yeah.
Are those finished?
I think so. And
wow.
I think that, I believe so, because there is only one building that is still being built in campus, and that will be the last one. We cannot build any more buildings in our current campus. We don't have enough place for that. That's it. We have reached our capacity of buildings in this area. So we are already building our northern campus, which will, as I told you, it will double the size of the campus.
That's amazing. All right. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is why Be'er Sheva is so important for international students, especially international students coming to learn Ivrit, to learn Hebrew.
Yeah. Okay. So as I told you, Be'er Sheva has changed a lot. But historically, Be'er Sheva as a peripheral city absorbed a lot of new immigrants from all over the world. So there are people that come from very diverse places. We have a lot of Ethiopians, we have a lot of Russian immigrants, we have a lot of, born and raised Israelis. It's a very, very diverse.
Your kids.
My kids, exactly. My kids, I'm from Argentina, my husband is from Albania. They are very, very, different from any other backgrounds. And this means that socially speaking, the community is very, very diverse. So if you want to get to know the real Israel, let's say, and get immersed in the real society, that's a very good place to go. People are very, very friendly since it's, although we have a lot of traffic nowadays that we didn't used to have, but it's not so big as other cities in Israel, as Jerusalem or Tel Aviv. So it's very easy to find your way in the city, find whatever you want to do. There are a lot of possibilities, but within those very huge possibilities, it's a rather small city. So it's very friendly for people that need to find their way and get settled as soon as possible, because their experience will be short, let's say a semester, 4 or 5 months, or even for a year. Now, we also, as I told you, are geographically in the middle of the country, so it's very, very easy to travel around.
Incredibly
easy. If you are in Be'er Sheva, exactly. You have trains and buses, and, everything is really easygoing in that matter. So I really, really think that it's a city that can give you different shades of what Israel is. And you can, meet Israeli students, live with them as roommates in the dorms, and also have your international community of students within the campus, and meet people from different backgrounds and volunteer in a nearby town, maybe with Bedouins. And, you really get to see a lot of different colors of Israel. Exactly.
That's awesome. That's amazing. All right. I am going to put all of the information for BGU International into the description of the YouTube version of this podcast here. And in closing, is there anything that you'd like to mention, anything that we may not have spoke about?
A little bit of our department, let's say the Office of International Academic Affairs. As I told you, we are in charge of academic things and aspects of the institution. And we also have a very large staff that really is our goal is to make the international students' lives as easy as possible once they are here. We have social counselors and door counselors and students coordinator, and we like to call ourselves a home away from home for students that are here for a short period of time during their lives, maybe 4 weeks, maybe 1 year, but we are there for them for anything that they need to. How to get to a doctor in case you need, or where to go and do your hair, or whatever is needed. What kind of, supermarket go to, and things like that. Those could be very small things that you might not think about when you are new in a place. It's hard to find your way. So it's also something that we really like to do for our students, and hopefully they will feel at home with us.
Well, you just touched on something, and I was going to end the show, but I have to say this. So, and I've spoken about this before on my podcast. I was in the military for 10 years, and I had to get out because I got injured. And it was difficult, traumatic, but I decided to push right back in and went back to college. Part of that was the study abroad program to come to see you. While I was here, it was a little difficult for me.
Of course.
But, and I'm probably going to get a little misty, sitting in the office with the strong women who run the OSP had a healing effect on me.
It's so amazing.
And thank you so much for everything you've done for me.
No, thank you.
All right, on that note, that's it. Laila Perelman-Soppi, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Michael. It was a real pleasure.
Thank you. All right, that's it. תודה רבה. להתראות ויאללה ביי.
פנייך מה יפות, מנועזת עד באהבות, מבטך שולח להבות, נהרות לא יכלו חוות, עזה וביישנית, רכה ועקשנית, גסה וחושנית, תמיד עוקצת כמו מלכת דבורים מאהבתך, מזמינה אך בסוף הורגת, כמו שאת בונה כך הורסת. דוניה, דוניה, דוני, 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 דוניה, דוניה, דוני, 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 דוניה. את זוכרת איך נשקת עיניי, את זוכרת איך בכית אליי,